Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first broadcast from our S.H.O.P. It's not a shop, as I'm going to be explaining as we go on, particularly to my good friend Brian. It's a social hub of positivity. Imagine saying that to whoever you live with at home. I'm just going down to the social hub of positivity.
It's an emporium of empathy.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah? And welcome to this, the 100th edition of the S.H.O.P Social Hub of Positivity podcast, vlog, whatever it is. It don't really matter what it is. But what it is partly supposed to be is a low-tech way of communities utilising and exemplifying the great people that we have in our communities. So wherever your community is, you have similar people, but also people that feign to represent and to be positive. They take advantage of the old systems of how we have been, I think, badly let down. And the pandemic, for me, particularly, has shone a light on the inadequacies, both in our local councils, the way they're voted in, etc., MPs, etc., and council workers. Not all of them, because in every walk of life there are great people, and there's certainly great people who work for this county council and town councils and parish councils. Of course there are, but that doesn't mean to say we don't need to do something about the ones that aren't, in my professional opinion, working in the best interests of our individuals and communities. That comes from years of working, of course, with the hardest to reach communities up and down the country. So I guess if your job isn't in community and looking at how communities are affected by the decisions, by however those decisions are made, but it's quite apparent more and more to the wider public, but the people that work within the sectors of working within communities have seen nothing but deterioration, and at the same time the higher echelons, so say, of our communities getting more wealthy. I'm going to express again the responsibility of can-do arts for sustainable development, who use the arts to allow individuals, communities, etc., businesses, governments, human beings, to look at the human aspect, the social aspect of sustainable development that cuts across everything. So we advise politicians when they ask for it. Politicians are just other individuals, aren't they? Whether they're local or national. So there is no such thing as countries, and there ain't no such thing as politics. Don't be divided or misled by those that would mislead you to enable them to benefit and gain even more. We have got a preposterous scenario, both on a local and a national and an international scale. Anyway, 100 of these shows looking at all sorts of people from across the community. And it's been a great pleasure of mine to work with all the people that have helped film it. Jules, Julius, Rebecca, Maya, and Lauren, Georgia, all the different people that have been associated with making this show happen. Donnelly, Sam Coleman, all the team at Can Do Arts, all the team volunteers at the Can Do Arts shop in Emery Gate, all the people at Emery Gate that support this, and we appreciate it, and all the other organisations and individuals around our community, both locally and nationally and internationally, that have had a positive and partnership working ideology kind of thing going forward, combining all our great strengths and positivity. So it's been a pleasure. The downside, obviously, of doing these things is I'm the boy that's, in the Emperor's New Clothes pointing out at the Emperor, and should there even be an Emperor, is naked. Anyway, love and peace. Here's a selection of the 100 shows. Some interesting things, some very interesting people, and some people that are trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Anyway, thank you so much for looking. Love and peace. Welcome back, everyone, to the number 2 of this podcast from the S.H.O.P, the Social Hub of Positivity. It does start to sound like a jingle. It won't be a jingle, obviously. That's just ridiculous. A very special person with us today. The brains and the looks behind Can Do Arts for Sustainable Development. One and only Donnelly. Hello, Donnelly.
Hello, Ed.
How are you?
Fancy meeting you here.
Fancy meeting you here. Now, here we've got a funny little story I'm going to tell you today about three very special people that turned up. That fate had sent us, right? So I'm going to hand over very quickly to one of these ladies so she can tell you about a little initiative in Calm. I'll hand over to Donna and you can think. So I'm going to go and thank you. I'll go this way.
Hello. Antonelli. Hugo.
Hi.
We've only just met about 10 minutes ago.
But welcome particularly to this wonderful person sitting next to me, Claire Cape. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm just thinking the sun is over the yardarms somewhere in the world.
It is. So technically, we could, I suppose, have a drink if we wanted to, couldn't we? We could, but maybe not. Okay. Now you've got the wonderful
Kitchen.
That's what her name is, yeah? Anyone got any problem with that? Because I certainly haven't. I don't know what's the matter with you, Jo. I could say that all day long. Yeah? She knows her name, I know her name. Is it you two that don't know her name? Wow. You two should have more respect.
Football, cricket.
Brilliant. You're always good at that. Still support Man United?
Everton.
Listen to a lot of your stuff now. And I'm a big fan, which is interesting because, let's face it, I'm quite big. All right, mate.
Don't use up all the fan space.
Yeah, exactly. There's all the oxygen. Where have all the pies gone?
A refashion Chippenham, we should have a refashion Bristol, a refashion wherever, there's like young people.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why we decided on Chippenham because we've got the secondary schools here, we've got the college here, we've got lots of kids here that need us. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
This is not the greatest place to have this organisation in terms of financial return.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough football.
Yeah.
We would do amazingly well somewhere like Bristol.
Yeah.
You asked for who's at this show.
Yeah.
Clifton Powell, who's they're all amazing artists. The furthest, it's local artists. Furthest away is Bristol, so it's
Still our localities, are we? Yeah.
local.
I get that. That's cool. This is the wonderful Terry Buchanan, everyone. Terry, how are you doing?
Oh, fine, thank you. Plodding along, as they say. But when you've got a few decades behind you, yeah.
Anything? What have you experienced, like the pandemic? Anything? Give us a sort of broad history of some of the stuff you've endured.
Well, because of my age, I had kind of the inoculations early. You know.
Yeah.
But we've been kind of ultra protective of ourselves and other people where we can.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to do that. You've got to consider other people as well as yourself.
Yeah.
So.
But in your history, and I know Terry because he's an artist who has got a broad range of art. It's not just this wonderful painting here and others that we're exhibiting at the S.H.O.P, the Social Hub of Positivity. It's photography. But can you tell everyone some of your history? Because I find it intriguing.
Well, I was a war child. We were living in London at the beginning of the war, and I was just a baby. The house was bombed, and all we had was the things myself and my mother were wearing at the time. We self-evacuated to a place called Canvey Island, and that's where I spent the war. And it was strange, really, for a young boy growing up, kind of, say, age of 5. When the alarm went for the air raid, I would come out and I would look up to the sky as we went across the field to the shelter, and the sky was black with bombers. And then another time, I stood in the garden and I saw the bombers going over for the invasion, towing the gliders. So they were going over. That was kind
D-Day.
of what we were doing. That was D-Day.
Yeah.
So to witness those things as a young child, those things stick in your mind. And the other thing I saw was crashing airplanes with dog fights. And these things
Wow.
are part of you, and they're in your mind, and they're memories. They may not be good memories, but they're still there as memories, you know. And then from there we moved back up to London to be near to family. My dad worked in the London docks as a ship repairer. Now, a lot of American ships came over, they were convoy ships, and they could say to my dad, "Hey, boy, you got a young kid, ain't you?" You know, and they would give me these American clothes. So I was wearing American clothes, the blue and white boots before they came over, the jackets and things like this.
Yeah.
And I was like an American boy in London, you know.
And you out there, this is a competition. You have to work out which one of these three people that I have grown up with. Francis, don't you say it was you just because you want to. I wish it was. No, I don't. Oh, that's awful. Perhaps you'd like to introduce yourselves and tell this audience of me watching on a Friday afternoon, evening, what it is you do, who you are, and why we've got you here. And I'm very excited because we have a close relationship. Not Francis, I'm spreading rumours about being you, but you know, a close relationship with the Allotment Society. Okay, I've given it away. Francis, come on, tell them who you are.
My name's Francis, and I am Secretary for the Chippenham Allotment Society, so dealing with any queries that come in and people that inquire about having an allotment.
Fantastic. And who might you be?
Good morning, my name is Mo. I've obviously known around the town for different things, but today I'd like to keep it straight like the chair. And you're asking yourself, how did you become the chair? Well, I went to a meeting and sadly the person that I am put my hand up when they said they needed a new chairperson and was told at that meeting, I want you people out there to know I was lied to. You'll only have 3 meetings a year, said the gentleman, God rest his soul, who sadly isn't with us anymore. And I said, 3 meetings a year? I'm full-time work, I can do that. Well, we have run out of fingers how many meetings we've had. But it's a pleasure to do it. I've had an allotment with my husband for the last 7 years. And obviously we're finding ourselves at this particular time in a crazy, crazy world that we're in. And it is a great place to go for all ages. So yeah, over to Peter.
Hi, my name is Peter and I'm the Membership Secretary. So I look after the membership lists and send out the renewals and tenancy agreements.
Excellent. So, we now know that you're 3 wonderful people who volunteer, I'm hoping. Let him introduce himself. Well, I'm going to say it's Matt Stab, and he's from a very interesting initiative which makes someone welcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us about it. What's your job? What's your role?
I work for the Windsor Centre for Independent Living. We're based in Devizes. We're a user-led organisation, so that means we support anyone with a disability, mental health issue, older person, right across the board. So yeah, that's us.
That's fantastic. County Farms, isn't it?
And the point is, particularly with Brexit, we're a liberal democracy.
Yeah.
So when people are starving, we will want to help them and we'll invite them in.
Yeah.
But at some point, and this is a real question for the liberal-minded, at some point there'll be too many people in the country and we're not growing enough food.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
And as soon as you say you can't come in, which is what we naturally say as humans, then all of a sudden no one's going to give us any food from those countries that they want to come from.
But you also got, because of the economy, the false illusion of the economy, for generations, Africans haven't been able to grow food for subsistence. They've been growing cash crops,
for us.
like for us in the Western world.
Rayworth, Oxford economist, who kind of, just like we're talking now, went right back to the start and said, hang on, Economics 101 has got this growth, but where did all this come from? And she's completely reimagined it and put it into work in Amsterdam. They've adopted donut economics, and so let's just
put
picture
donut economics.
So picture a circle,
just a little
picture a nice big juicy donut in front of you, and the inner side of the circle, things like we talked about health, education, welfare, the things that in Chippenham make life worth living, the arts, being able to earn a decent living and food and shelter, all of those things. And then the outside of the donut are planetary boundaries, essentially, things like climate change, things like nitrogen runoff and phosphor usage, you know.
You can do small things locally that actually make people feel like more of a community, not feel so separated. We're not all sitting on our houses on the internet talking to people who are miles away necessarily all the time, but actually sort of going out and maybe building something together, maybe planting up a community garden or tidying up some litter or something, that kind of thing. Actually makes people feel
absolutely. No, I agree. Actually getting involved on lots of levels, and these other podcasts that we've been doing, vlogs, whatever you want to call them, are about other organisations. We've been talking to the Allotment Society. It's fantastic. Anyway, Kieran, you lovely man, come on, what's going on?
What's going on? There's loads going on. There you go.
Yes.
There's many going on.
Yes. Oh, we're talking big heap of going on.
Big heap of going on.
But you're involved in lots of good stuff, so come on, give me a list. And I know you work for the local council as well, if that's actually such a description that anyone could use for what they do if they work for a local council.
I work
Hey, man, I'm only joking. Or am I? Carry on, Kieran. Let's go.
I work very hard for the local council in Chippenham. I am the in-house audio technician for the Nield Theatre. However, I do a lot more outside of that. I run a podcast called Sheer Isolation Podcast.
Which is great.
There's very few places that you can take young people and interact with them to do craft work, to, I don't know, play table tennis or air hockey, things like that. There aren't those facilities to take young people, and that's a crying shame. So we end up spending a lot of time in McDonald's, so it becomes known as Mac mentoring. That's not putting down McDonald's in any shape or form, but it's not always when you're wanting to engage with a child and speak.
Absolutely, they might have
sat in
stuff
McDonald's.
That
It's not, you know,
deep emotional stuff. It's not the most conducive.
So from that point of view, we used to go to the Bridge Centre and do various things, but I think that is one of the things that's lacking. But the other thing is there are so many organisations, Can Do Arts, and lots more in Chippenham doing good things. And my biggest gripe, particularly with Wiltshire, the community involvement team, is that everybody is doing good things, but we don't join up. So I could be seeing a young person on the mentoring scheme, and then tomorrow he might be going to Can Do Arts. And the next week the connections are gone, I think, but the next day he could be with somebody else. But they could be seeing
the Bridge Centre thing. I remember having a meeting with you, Richard Williams, and then saying, look, if this is going to go in a mothball, give it to us until there's another time when you decide what you're going to do with it. That didn't happen, so I was like, geez, it's so hard when you're on the front line. It's like the First World War. I'm not saying it's as extreme as this, although I've worked with kiddies that have killed people.
And it's quite interesting you say that, Ed. I probably should have said about it. When I was a young person in Chippenham, I was passionate, as I've already said to you, about football, sport and all the rest of it. I had the opposite connection with the Bridge Centre. I went there 2 or 3 times when I was 12, 13, and it did absolutely nothing for me unless I played football and I was looking for the bigger picture. And I think the discussions we've had over the years, there are certain elements, like with any decision, that we're passionate about the Bridge Centre, and I get that. And when it was pulled down, there was tears and all the rest of it. But I think there was also another element, even forgetting me that I'm a councillor, was actually when I went there when I was 12, 13, whatever, I didn't get it. And I think it was right for some people, but perhaps not right for everybody.
Because even though I've had a really strange year, I've had a really positive time, and I've still managed to get out and meet with our military and our firefighters and huge amounts of residents. I've been involved in the citizenship ceremonies. They had to go on hold at the citizenship ceremonies.
Well, Donna, you were at a presentation Teresa did. What was that for? From the town council. I thought I've seen 2 photographs of you recently. One is with Donna giving an award from on the end of a stick.
Was it? Did we give you community? Did you have a grant from us?
Yes. And then there was something else on the steps of the town hall.
Civic Award.
Yes, that was it.
Civic Award. Having to move every 2 years, it makes it really difficult to build kind of those strong connections. And now I can do that. And that really excites me. So obviously Ross told me about Can Do Arts, which sounds fantastic. Absolutely up for getting involved as much as I can.
Well, if you get elected, If you don't get elected...
Well, even if I don't get elected...
No, the reason what I was saying is, no, it's not that, I'm saying, if you get elected, it will be very publicly that I want you to get involved. If you don't, come and get involved anyway, because...
They've worked their arse off.
Yeah.
It is
Absolutely.
absolutely mental how this world pandemic has caused such a hectic lifestyle. And they're tired, exhausted, and they deserve to be rewarded.
Yeah.
I don't think they deserve to be rewarded by a small little clap on Thursday.
Yeah.
I do not think that is enough.
No.
And as I work for the NHS, I feel that everyone should be rewarded during this time because we have worked very hard. And we have, in our team, we have worked very hard as well.
Absolutely. Listen, what you people are doing is exactly the same as what the NHS is doing. All I'm saying is we don't need privatised medicine.
Yes,
we don't need privatised railways. We don't need privatised electricity or utilities. It's absurd. It's just another way to steal the collective wealth of the nation.
It's a very good business tactic.
I've experience of working inside a prison. You understand it firsthand, and I hope and I believe are trying your best to try and stop as many people getting there as possible.
It's a monstrous place, and it's no holiday camp. I tell you. You just take the place where you are, and your freedom is gone. It is, I could well up, but I just will say that my charges were all from 1983, 1982. I wasn't. When I met Brenda, life changed.
Yes,
I had a ready-made family, all the rest of it. I was into the politics, but when a friend of mine from South America turned up with a whole load in his suitcase, with my name and address in his, and the whole thing collapsed anyway. And I just went, well, this is what I did.
Yeah.
I was never. It was never big time. I was just an old hippie. A young hippie in those days, and just bumbling along in life. I wasn't an international
Pablo Escobar. I'm laughing. I call him Pablo.
Yes. That's why you call me Pablo.
Yeah. What do you think it was?
I didn't.
Okay, I love it. The fact that I called you Pablo and you didn't tweet. Why do you think I called you Pablo?
Well, I don't know. I thought this bloke's a bit odd. Why is he calling me Pablo?
Why is he calling Pablo? Hello, my friend. Cheech.
It's no laughing matter.
No, it's not.
Listen, prison is.
Of course. Totally overexcited. You need to ask Maya how excited I was when I even spoke to this gentleman on the phone, let alone meet him in person. Ladies and gentlemen, the very wonderful Mr. Tottenham himself, Steve Perryman.
Thank you very much. What a great introduction. Thank you very much. Great to be talking to you all.
It's great to be here. It's your house. If you weren't,
let's have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We already started. As a Spurs fan, and I know there's lots of people that watch this across the board from different places, including Croatia, bizarrely, but only because they're relatives. But you've had an absolutely, for me, you have been. Oh, let me just take this off because I'm a bit hot. Let me just say that when I started watching Tottenham, this was the top, and for me,
oh wow,
this is.
Sure, I started it.
That's what I'm saying. So when I look, and people have their favourite players, have their favourite eras, you actually bridge quite a few of those really successful times. Now, there's Arsenal fans out there saying, really, what, successful compared to who? Shut it. But in reality, right across the board for Tottenham, as far as our trophy cabinet, you've actually been part of two of the biggest parts of that history, because I'd say that the double team with Bill Nick, etc.
Yeah, and I joined Tottenham at the end of that sort of era of double team. So, for instance, when I joined as a 15-year-old from school, Dave Mackay was captain, who played in the double. Jimmy Greaves was still there, who came just on the end of the double. Ron Henry I played with, so he was left back in the double team. I played with through the teams. We met up in the A team, and Bill Nicholson, of course, was the man.
Wow!
So he signed me, and that's a massive tick to my name. That Bill Nicholson thought I was going to be good enough.
Well, listen, I'm in awe of what you're wearing. You're looking dead cool, and we're standing up because my back has gone, and we worked out that basically wherever I try and sit, That's my home. No, wherever I try and sit, I can't get back up again. So this wonderful person has agreed to stand up. So I'm going to try and make this as short as possible for you.
I might regret that.
Yeah. But Chris, tell these wonderful people out here what it is you do. And I know your family, as it turns out. Well, I didn't know that when I re-met you, but you have a wonderful family. So that was a good thing. But carry on, tell everyone what you do.
I run a company called Scrawler Box, which is an art supply subscription box, which means every month I put together a selection of art supplies, be it pens, pencils, paints, and inspirations, put it in a box and send it out to my subscribers every month for them to get creative.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and I wanted to prove my drama skills because I wanted to actually be an actress when I was, but it didn't go to plan. And I was Mr. Scrooge when I was 15, and I can't sing, but I sang in front of about 100 people.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What happened to those 100 people? Don't say they're in therapy.
They're all deaf, so yeah, because of my singing.
The wonderful Guillaume Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell. If you just know Guillaume Mitchell,
Everyone
he's
knows
beautiful.
of him. He's
He's
famous.
superb. Oh, he is now.
Yeah.
Certainly in this room.
From you?
Wonderful. His name's Guillaume Mitchell. Yeah. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Very good. What was the pronunciation like on your name?
You did very well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool. Can you just say to the audience out there what your name really is and how you?
Guillaume Mitchell.
Yeah. And where are you from, sir?
Well, I'm from Spain, Catalonia more precisely, Barcelona area. That's where I'm from.
Beautiful. We vote Catalan. Oh, don't be political.
I'm S.H.O.P.
Yeah.
I supply Sainsbury's supermarket.
Right. And what has happened since the Brexit and pandemic? Which has affected it most, do you think, the actual distribution?
The actual distribution has been affected mostly by the pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's also having residual effects from Brexit.
Yeah.
Very far away from the sun, we don't need to touch it to be able to feel it, so that there are things out there that we can't see. Our vision spectrum is very small compared to the entire vision spectrum, and the hearing is the same, but we can use these senses and grow them. If somebody becomes blind, their sense of hearing will heighten. So if they have the ability to heighten that sense, we all have the ability to heighten all senses. And then I start bringing it to the self.
And we're also going to be doing quite a big collaborative piece that anyone can just add their designs to, words to. I think we're going to be thinking about positive words, and it's going to be all about love and kindness in the run-up to Valentine's Day.
Could it get any better? We are actually with this wonderful human being, very lovely Trish Hoskins from Reach Out Cornwall, who's also a director of Can Do Arts CIC. Trish, how are you in this new wonderful place?
Desperately excited to be here. It's fantastic. We took over the pub officially on the 1st of September. It is pretty much as you see it now, apart from that we've decorated most of it. Turned this little bit into a kitchen with pizza oven and things. As you'll see when you go upstairs, we totally can't use the kitchen.
Helping people, and it also releases all the happy hormones, which then help the pain. But a lot of it was to do with massaging all the internal organs.
Wow.
And so it all comes from that, and it's the older women passing this information on to the younger ones.
Yeah, that's incredible. I did not know that, but it actually makes complete sense.
Yeah. You couldn't say, I've got backache, I'm going to go down to the chemist and get some painkillers.
Yeah.
So they would show you the moves to do all these hip rotations that eases your lower back.
Tutorials, information so far, and then a few fun ones, which are the signing ones, and I just do some songs and things that are signed.
Wicked. What songs do you do, if you don't mind me saying?
I did some Christmas carols, and I did the Lord's Prayer.
Right.
So I did that over Christmas, and Away in a Manger's got 1,000 views with my daughter, and she's in the videos, so that's why they're really important as well, because opportunity for her and alongside her mum, because the channel is
what part of the job is that? What hours? Because I can join you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is it just the kind of thing where you do this a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that role.
I need a straw in my drink, and I need a
carry in from the
Yeah,
bar.
I can do that. I can do that.
To pay her till I come to the pub. I have got other friends. I don't pay her to bring my friends. No, naturally.
Because obviously, I know someone quite high up in the police.
Yeah.
And they've said to me, for every £1 they spend, saves them £4 in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to get a backlog with this sooner or later.
100%.
And, you know, young people's mental health is big on the agenda for everyone these days.
Yeah.
And
well, thankfully, because it never was, and it was still out there being deteriorated.
You've got to break. You've got to break the cycle. You know, I might be wrong in saying this, and I might not be educated enough to say this, but I think, you know, if you're at a point where, you know, you can't heat the house and you're eating, my wife comes from that background. Her mother couldn't afford to eat because she needs to feed a child.
Yeah.
My mother's, my wife's an only child.
Sounds wonderful, I have to say. It's a real mix. It's a real mix.
It's a real mix.
We run a 1968 Cheltenham Sable Caravan, which is cream and pink, and I sell vegan cakes from it. So the idea came around, I had to change my job last year and didn't know what I was going to do, and the idea came up of running a cafe with Lucy and Lucia at the art fair and craft markets.
Isn't that a really good Isn't it like it was planned? Like we go to do this in front of you before he joined the course in September. So he made film and he.
This is almost like your college interview.
Hey, Joseph Lamprey, ladies and gentlemen. That worked, didn't it? Anyone else want a job interview like that? And it cost me 6 years of my life. It'll be fine.
For me, kept me in my seat, you know, because I've got a very short boredom threshold, concentration threshold, whatever you like to call it.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, because I obviously am similar. Sam said we're so similar, it ain't funny, but carry on. You're probably the better looking one, but carry on.
I'm hoping that you will be okay about this. Blame Ed.
Wait, because it's going to be in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
Local chimney sweep in the Chippenham area. I tend to go on about a 25-mile radius, and then.
Yeah, but how many? Well, just that. A, how do you get into it, and B, is it something you want to do, and C, how many females do chimney sweeping? Is that a thing? Do you know any others?
I know two others. Yeah.
She's also my chimney sweep, or our chimney sweep, just in case anyone.
Yeah, I know of 2 others. They're not very local to us, though.
Yeah. That's good though, so you kind of know what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So I'll just do it very quickly. How about this? Well done, and thank you on behalf of Can Do for that you did such a fantastic job and made us really proud. What's it like being on your first trip abroad?
It feels good. It's
Yeah?
nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was it like when you got on the plane?
I enjoyed it.
So we've been over in Croatia and making contacts with a wonderful school in Starigrad, which is the oldest town, I keep saying this, in Europe, established town. One of, but come on. It says it, Staris.
No.
You also told me he can sing. What sort of singing does he do?
He's singing in klapa, which is the special sort of klapa singing, many voices and chords, and this is typical for the whole Dalmatian area.
Right, so you know that song I was talking to you about, the Adriana song?
Yeah.
Do you think we could get him to do some singing?
Yes.
Wicked.
Definitely. He never refuses anything that is going on at school.
Well, that dog at the window, I mean, I don't know if he's got a parachute. Is he allowed up there?
No! Oh my
See?
God.
Isn't it? What should we do?
I think I ought to go and get...
Okay, should we end the podcast? Because we said everything we need to
Yes.
say, do we?
Yeah.
Right, let me just take a photograph of the dog before he falls, and if there's an insurance claim, let's do it.
But
pronounce your surname, because it's an absolutely extraordinary surname, as far as I'm concerned. Do you want to pronounce it to the good people of this parish?
In this day and age, it sounds like Lendeyu. In 1295, with the direct line descendants to Falmouth, it's Lendeyu.
Sue Lawson, you might have seen her in such children as comedy. Tom and Shay. Anyway, tell us what you're doing here. It's amazing, by the way. It's all packed now.
We're doing a timely, informative and engaging event which is looking at energy saving and nature. And so when we had a survey, so Calm Without Parish Council, I'm a member of Calm Without Parish Council, we declared a climate emergency in April 21.
And you are the proud owner, with Pete, of this wonderful golf course. Tell us a little bit about it. Is that it? For all these years?
It's a 9-hole pitch and putt golf course with 9-hole foot golf and 18 holes of adventure golf. We have a little tea room called the 10th hole. And in weather like this, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. This, by the way, is the Can-Do Arts for Sustainable Development home produced apple. Well, I wish it was so. I don't know why I said that, I didn't like it. Apple juice, it's really lovely, you should get some. It's at the S.H.O.P in Emery Gate. Good luck. Thank you everyone who's been watching this, and thank you for all the support that we're getting. All the volunteers at the S.H.O.P, the Social Hub of Positivity, and all the people at Emery Gate for supporting that initiative. Nothing gets done in isolation, as I said before, but what a great joy there can be in positive collaboration. Peace out, people. Nice. No more war.
At 1,000 miles an hour, just another speck in the cosmic shower. All the universe held within the flower.